Did anyone say Cookie Pops? That's what I thought I heard. Well, I'm going to walk you through on how to prepare to make Cookie Pops. You can make Cookie Pops on your own. This is a mise en place video, which is a French term for to put in place, or a more simpler term, prep. We're going to prep everything that we need in order to make these Cookie Pops. I have a recipe for Cookie Pops. Now, if you've never made this recipe, I would recommend you read through it 3 times. It seems like a lot, but it does help you to familiarize yourself with the recipe, and therefore you can gather all the things that you need in order to prepare it. Reading through the list of ingredients, we are to have solid vegetable shortening for greasing the pans, or if you just want to get some spray oil, well, that works great too. If you don't have spray oil, you use the solid vegetable shortening and either a paper towel or a pastry brush to paint that on your pan. Just a very thin layer. We're going to need 1 package of 18 1/4 ounce cake mix, just a prepared cake mix like Duncan Hines. 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 8 tablespoons, which is 1 stick of butter, melted, 1/4 cup of honey, 2 large eggs, 1 cup of colored sugar sprinkles. You can have more than 1 cup. If you like different sprinkles, different looks, you could have many cups of different sprinkles. And your 48 wooden craft sticks, which are like which is a popsicle stick. Reading through the instructions next, it says, place a rack in the center of the oven and preheat the oven to 375 degrees. Aha! We need an oven. Okay. We're going to move our oven rack inside the oven to the middle position and then turn the oven on to 375. We do that first. Why? It's called a preheat because we're preheating our oven. We want to get our oven up to 375 degrees before we put in our food so that our food will cook correctly. Next, it says to lightly grease 2 cookie sheets with solid vegetable shortening and set the pans aside. Well, we just found out we need a cookie sheet, don't we? And actually we need 2. Our next set of instructions says to place the cake mix, flour, melted butter, honey, and eggs in a large mixing bowl. Oh, I just heard I need a large mixing bowl. Okay. Now make sure it's large enough so that when you're mixing, flour doesn't come out all over the place. You don't want to use too small a bowl. Better to use too large of a bowl than too small of one. Okay. We know we're going to have to measure our honey and measure our cake mix, so we're going to need measuring cups, right? This is a dry measuring cup. We do not measure liquid in here. Move your flour out of your container, and then you would level it off so that you'd have a level cup of your flour. It calls for honey, which is a liquid. A good trick so that your honey and sticky things don't stick into your cup itself is to lightly spray it with your spray oil first and then pour in your honey to wherever you need it. In this case, it calls for 1/4 cup. And then when you're pouring out your honey, it doesn't stick into your cup. Good little trick. It says place the cake mix, flour, melted butter, honey, and eggs in your large mixing bowl. Now you do want to crack your eggs in a separate bowl to make sure you don't get eggshells in your bowl with all your other ingredients. It'd be kind of hard to fish all that out. You don't want to do that. So crack your eggs separately and then put them in the bowl. Once we've got it all in the bowl, our next instructions is to mix it with a handheld mixer. If you have a stand mixer, feel free to use that. The bowl you would use for that is the bowl that comes with a stand mixer. But this is a handheld mixer. Okay, so we know we need that. It says to mix on low And then after a minute, we need to scrape down the bowl. So in order to scrape down the bowl, what are we going to need? We're going to need a rubber spatula or a plate scraper. And that would be to just get the dry bits that are up along the side of the bowl down into your mixture, because those need to become incorporated with all the other ingredients. And then it says to start up your handheld mixer again. You're going to want to shape the dough. And it says you're going to need a little extra flour to flour your hands. You just put a little bit on your hands and put on your hands, lightly floured. And that way, when you pick up the dough and shape it into a ball, it won't stick to your hands. It'll come right off. So we know we need a little extra flour, don't we? All right. I always recommend a rubbish bowl. Because once you start cracking open your eggs, you're going to need to put your shells in this rubbish bowl. You open your box of cake mix. You can put the empty box in here. How about opening the stick of butter? Now we have our wrapper. We can put that in there. Anything you're going to want to throw away later. This is going to be our rubbish bowl. This way we don't have to run across the kitchen to throw it away in the trash can all the time. Once we have shaped our dough into 1-inch balls, you place each dough ball 2 inches apart from each other. The reason why is because they're going to spread. They're going to flatten and they're going to spread, and they're not going to stay in little balls, in little rounds. Like, they're not going to stay in little ball form. They're going to spread out and make a cookie. And so we know we're going to put that on our cookie sheet that we know we needed. And then, of course, we're going to bake the cookies. And once we've baked them for 8 to 12 minutes, remove them from the oven. And then it says to, while they're hot, stick the popsicle stick into the side of your cookie. So your cookie is going to be, here's your cookie. You're just going to stick it into the side. And once the cookie cools around it, it should hold the pop in place so that later on you can pick it up like a lollipop. Now they want you to carefully, of course, remove the cookies with a spatula and set it on a wire rack. So we know we need a wire rack. And this is elevated. It keeps it off the countertop. If you leave your cookies directly on the countertop, the steam will moisten the cookies, which is not what we want. We want an even cooling. This stays up off your countertop so you don't create steam and soften the cookies. You just let them cool. And the moisture, the air can flow all around the cookie. It says to then cool them for 30 minutes. We're cooling them on our wire rack and they're ready to go. So did I have to rush back to the kitchen for anything extra? No. I had everything right near me, right beside me, everything that I needed in order to make these cookie pops. Okay, now you know how to prepare for a recipe. Make sure you have your prep prepared, your mise en place, so that you're never caught without an ingredient or without a clean utensil or the right measuring cups, right measuring spoons. Whatever you have need of, you have it at your fingertips, and therefore successfully complete your task. So the next recipe that you want to make, follow these instructions. Read the recipe 3 times and familiarize yourself with it. And then as you think through, what am I going to need? The recipe says I need an oven, or I need a cookie sheet, or I need a rubber spatula. I know I need a rubbish bowl because I'm always going to have some rubbish. I might need a hand mixer or a stand mixer, or I need a dry measuring cup. You decide as you go along, as you read through this recipe, on what exactly you're going to need in order to complete this recipe. Also, make sure you have all the ingredients. That's important. You can't complete the task if you don't have the ingredients. So it's very important you get all your stuff together beforehand. All right, now let's get to baking.